talking about Manchester City, Liverpool or Arsenal in terms of the title
Chelsea,
race because because the big winners of the weekend are Chelsea.
Yeah, and it was quite impressive in the end because when you consider the two mistakes they made to concede the goals, you know, you look at Chelsea now and you feel like offensively it seems like it's really in order. There's so much going on. I thought Jadon Sancho as well was very good. With, obviously Cole Palmer's doing his great stuff, but like it's defensively. And they just need professionally to tighten up everything. I think now Chelsea, if they can get, for me, a goalkeeper, a top goalkeeper, I thought Ramsdale would have been perfect for him, but hey, and that Thiago Silva, experienced centre-half, then I think Chelsea are very much in this fight, without a doubt. They're in the fight now, but really in the fight with that, because for me, they've got everything. Even when they went 2 down, I think a couple of seasons ago, that Chelsea kind of collapse under Potter, maybe under Potter, whoever it is, they completely fall away. But like that Chelsea team, so strong mentally.
Yeah, that's what I think is interesting about what's happening under Enzo Maresca, is that every week it's maybe a different style of challenge and we're learning something new about them. And then that game yesterday at Tottenham, again, was something different for them to overcome.
Yeah, it was very, very different in many ways. And in many ways, Cucurella's lucky it was Maresca who was the manager, because if it was Mourinho, the chances are he would have been subbed. He believed in him, gave him the faith,
Instead,
gave him
his
the
boots
trust.
were subbed.
He subbed his boots and he came on.
By the way, very similar pair on.
I think the other ones had blades on, from what I'm hearing, and these one, he went more...
You know the thing with that, Kels, people would think that it's like, you know, oh, it's unfortunate. That is what you are doing the warm-up for. Yeah. So there's no way, if he's moving and slipping that much, then the warm-up, he couldn't have been stable. Those are the kind of things that, like Enzo Maresca mentioned, those things will cost you.
I don't think they're blades.
And even that, Dan, you say like he couldn't have been like... I don't think that means in the warm-up. He wasn't moving sharp enough. Because he isn't testing
those boots.
And they got punished, unluckily, but the 2 finishes were well taken.
There they are
in the bin, aren't they?
Not good for their sponsors.
That's the thing. The big losers of the weekend were Cucurella's boot sponsors. They'll be furious about that. But look, he changed his boots, didn't slip for the rest of the game, and actually he only gave the ball away in the first half. There was only, I think, one other player who did better than that, and both occasions they led to the goal. So it was unfortunate in a way.
I mean, how unlucky
for Cucurella. It was the position that he was in. It was the fact that Spurs were able to capitalise on it. But overall, Chelsea's performances week in, week out are improving, broadly speaking, and they are starting to suggest that they're the real deal, even if not for this season, then definitely going forward.
Yeah, what's the youngest team in the league at the moment, and when you think about the fact that we all sort of laughed about the fact that they had all the squad depth, you know, that they had bought so many players, how are they going to fit them all the memes about them working out in the gym because they just didn't have enough room, and actually at a time when everyone needs squad depth, they've got it, so they can replace players so perfectly. I think the fact that you've got a coach who knows how to tinker with the side when he notices straight away where Badiashile needs to be, where Caicedo needs to move, and how he can correct what was wrong in the setup, then that is a masterstroke. That is what his secret weapon is. But yes, Chelsea are looking strong. They have that fight back. They have the players that are now showing why we paid a lot of money for them at the time, why they paid a lot of money for them. And are they the team that's going to run Liverpool the closest, or is this going to be a temperamental side? Because it is a young side. And so you wonder, and honestly, my mouth dropped when I realised that they've got the 3rd strongest defence. I mean, we look at them and they're so open, and yet actually they haven't conceded as much as we thought.
This is what I mean in respects of an experienced centre-half to shepherd it now, to tell people. You know, like, for instance, even Badiashile's pass back to Cole, it's the kind of thing that triggers Kels. That triggers the press, Sean, because you know it's bouncing to him. He's going to at least need to take a touch. So that will trigger someone else to say, right, I'll close him. So then he's going to have to give him a ball that he's going to not be ready for. And so so we can push them in there. And that's exactly what happened. So those are the things that you want an experienced player to tell you. Everything has to be sharp at that stage of the game, especially if you're going to go for the big trophies. I think with Chelsea, they're well ahead of schedule. They're probably trying to get themselves from, like, obviously from Conference League to the Premier League, to the Champions League. That's what they're probably focusing on more than anything for me. And when you look at the two teams as well, it's almost like a B team and an A team. So what would be interesting, Kels, is if they start going out of those competitions, then how do you keep everybody happy in that respect?
I think he'll do it the same way. I think what he's done is he's created a little thing within the squad that if you want to play on the weekend, you have to be at this height. Sancho waited his time.
Yeah.
Every time he's got his chance, he's shown why he should be starting, and he plays in that Spurs game.
Yeah.
And for me, if Cole Palmer doesn't score 2 goals, he would be my man of the match. Or player of the match, I should say, sorry. So I think what that's helped is a lot for Cole Palmer, because now the ball doesn't always go to Cole Palmer. So now you have to worry about Jadon Sancho. Yeah. Not only Jackson's runs in behind, but now they've got Neto, who's going to cause you loads of problems. Yeah. And for me, as soon as Lavia got a hold of that midfield, I reckon after about 15, 20 minutes, that's when, for me, the game started changing, when he started popping those balls between the lines to the players that can hurt you.
He had a really good first half performance, Lavia.
It cause you loads of problems. And for me, as soon as Lavia got a hold of that midfield, I reckon after about 15, 20 minutes, that's when, for me, the game started changing, when he started popping those balls between the lines to the players that can hurt you.
He had a really good first half performance, Lavia. Brought off at half-time.
Son's strongest is his right foot, so he's naturally going to cut in, whereas Caicedo's comfortable coming inside.
Good point. Yeah, that could be the one as well.
Might be in a tactical thing.
I like what you did there. I like what you did there.
But the point is that they've got the option. It might not be that it's one or the other. Yeah. It might be either or, just depending on the situation. It's something that and it might even change during the course of a game.
It may do, but what they've seen is that's something that they can definitely do against certain teams. If maybe different wingers, or you might need to change that, because someone, let's say Diaz, you're playing up against Diaz in Liverpool, he's going to go both ways and cause problems. Then Caicedo's got more of a defensive right back problem. And but if he's able to invert and play, and then they're able to cover, it looks very stable. Looks very stable.
If we're going to qualify that Chelsea win, and there will be much excitement, and they were like deliriously happy at the final whistle because it's Tottenham and because they'd been 2-0 down in the game as well. But if we are going to qualify it, do we look at the fact that 2 of their goals were penalties, that they could have had a player, so too could Tottenham, could have had a player sent off in the game, Caicedo, who would have been, who was instrumental in a lot of those big decisions in the match. Do we just need to temper it slightly, do you think?
I think that's a fair point to make, considering the fact that when we sit here and most people are very happy to be critical of Tottenham, but then realise that it's only a 1-goal margin. And overall, when you watch the match, Chelsea were the better team. They had the control a little bit more than Tottenham, that seemed to be in and outside. When they celebrated, it's with all their heart. You're seeing a lot of grace, something that I would have said that we've seen before in Chelsea in a while. Reclaim those emotions right now, and looking at the way that their performers are playing at the moment, you would say that actually, even when they were 2-0 down, there was always this hope for you that they were going to win that. Yeah. And I think that the performance, more than the result early on, showed you that perhaps they were the team that should win this.
Yeah.
There's 2 sides to that coin as well. One, it's Spurs being 2-0 up, and you don't necessarily feel hugely confident of them holding on to the lead. We'll talk about them in a second. Just on the 2 red cards, because they were huge moments, of course, as they are in Caicedo.
Yeah.
And there was one potential, first of all, because I think this is the one that, certainly in the UK commentary,
for him not to even get a card, or for the ref not to have a look himself, I think is
understood it. You'd have still thought, well, it didn't seem like it was excessive, so you feel, well, that's just a follow through that's kind of just on it. But like, those ones, I can't understand why they, like, for me there, he's gone for the ball, there is no excessive force in it, and so you feel to yourself, it's clumsy, it's clumsy. So then if you're clumsy and you're out of, then that a problem?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is the thing. You actually, and I imagine there's people watching who are doing this as well. When you're watching, you're trying to go, does that feel natural?
Because, like, you know what? When you look at his arm there, Kels, the right, it looks a little bit more deliberate.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Doesn't he always play with?
He does play with quite high elbows.
I feel like even when you used to watch me,
but he's always got. But with high elbows, they're a little bit kind of here. But like that was here.
But it was.
You know what? If he got sent off for that, I think you could look into that one more than the Caicedo one and think, yeah, I could see that. That doesn't feel natural how we went through with that. It didn't feel natural.
One last word before we leave the sort of Chelsea side of things, which is on Cole Palmer and coolness, the composure to score the second.
Probably the way to do it, because obviously you could totally trust your, but like it was so out of the blue for me that he was going to take that penalty. But it was beautiful, magical to watch. It went in so slow. I thought that Fraser could have turned around and caught it.
He was embarrassed that if he did turn,
and try, it would have looked really bad. But it was a beautiful way to end, especially with everything that was going on with them, throwing all the stuff at him and him like smiling and laughing. It's beautiful. That's the way you answer.
And now he is the most successful penalty taker in the Premier League, because he's scored all 12 of the penalties that he's taken. That's the longest 100% record.
Brilliant.
But I thought you were coming in on that. I thought you were.
It was interesting because they asked
him. He brought it up with a Panenka.
They asked him about who he would want to take a penalty to save his life, and I wish he could have it himself. But he said Mario Balotelli at the time.
Well, obviously he'd probably watched a lot of Mario Balotelli when he was younger, and Mario Balotelli's a maverick. He took the penalties. It's again.
Always calm.
You only need a winners' medal. There have been other Italian players in Premier League winning teams, but they won this medal. Mario Balotelli, the only Italian player to have Tottenham. Because you mentioned Fraser Forster, goalkeeper, in there, and they brought back Mickey van der Ven, surprisingly, from injury, Romero from injury as well. But it was as patchy, as streaky as streaky's probably not even right. It's game on, game off. Isn't
I know.
it?
It's just like, what was that stat you gave, Kels? They either winning by a few goals or they do.
All of their defeats have been by 1 goal. 5 of their 6 wins have been by 3 or more goals.
So when they're good,
they're great.
When they're very, very good.
But
when they're bad, they're horrible.
Again, I'm not. Everybody gets injuries, and it's it feels like he's taking a bit of a chance, especially if they're going to play the high line, and Van der Ven's going to have to be chasing Jackson. I was more worried he came up, but Romero's injury happened really early when he tried that little back flick. But you just I thought at the seams for some reason. You look at the control of the midfield. There wasn't really any control of the midfield in the way that they were going to try. Individual ability with players, with pace with Brennan Johnson, with Kulusevski. Surprised to not see Maddison. The endeavour of someone like Solanke. So you just feel like for them to control, to make Chelsea go on the back foot, they just don't seem to have it. 2-0, you think at some stage Chelsea are going to come into this game, because even when they went 2-0 up, you didn't feel like Tottenham were going to win it. But at the same time, they still kept going and trying.
Today, the players are feeling it too. Here's Son Heung-min.
Sonny, a day that started so well, and just put that into words.
Yeah, he's a very, very disappointed. I think I don't know what to say at the moment, and making such a good game in the first half an hour, and and then we very easily, and from my end, first we lost. Because of this kind of small details, and of course that I take the big responsibility of, because in such a big stage you need to step up and you gotta have to score in this kind of big moments, and I feel like I let the team down, and feel very sorry for the team.
He's taking responsibility, Kels. For me, what I'm seeing is somebody who he believed that maybe if he takes that chance, it might have propelled him to go and win the game. But he's just standing up as a leader. I get the impression that there's a lot of togetherness in that dressing room, especially for the manager, and that's why they look so disappointed. You hear even Romero, saying how much. And something was tweeted, and then he tweeted as well something about Ange. If he goes, I'm out or something like this. Then it was taken back, because I believe that the dressing room,
they're supportive of the manager.
Absolutely supportive of him, and they're just trying to get past a certain phase, and they just don't seem to be able to do it at the moment with the way they're playing.
But the manager, so just to pick up on that point, the manager's coming in for a lot of criticism, and I'm sure there are reasons to criticise him. But their individual errors that led to the penalties, I'm not sure there's much that a manager can do other than go out and play on behalf of the players himself.
It's almost a moment of madness from both of those players. Basuma knows he's not going to win the ball. Caicedo's not going goalward, so you don't even need to slide. You just need to basically stand up and try and block that cross if it was to come in. And Cole Palmer's running away from goal for whatever reason. He decided to just kind of steamroll into his back. But this play from Jadon to start with is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And look,
this is just crazy.
It's just
you know what? As a manager, Sean, and that Kels, this is the thing what makes you like your disbelief. A player of his quality, he knows instantly as well, will make a challenge like, because Tottenham can look at it and say, listen, we're not playing great, but we've given 2 goals away, 2 opportunities to score away. It could have been so different, because that game could have ended 2-2 if they don't give away those 2 crazy mistakes. And this one, like you said, Sean, look, Cole Palmer's going out the box. What are you doing? What's Ange support? What are you supposed to do? Ange has got to take that on board. That's just, I can't believe it. I can't believe that. I'm dreaming.
I mean, if you consider that if they had a red card as well, including those 2 penalties, I mean, you're sitting there thinking, and then Ange is going to get all the criticism for it. And I think that what you have with him is that as much as there's, rightful criticism, which is maybe you should adapt considering the injuries, maybe you should find a way of conserving energy within the game. You look at the way that the squad's been built, right? And then you think that there's too many similar options, sort of too many number 8s, not really a clearly defined number 6. I feel like, we contemplated whether or not he should have played Romero and Van de Ven. What are your other options at the moment? And then you've got, Archie Gray, who's a central midfielder going back.
And a teenager.
And a teenager who just made his...
A teenage midfielder.
Or Dragusin, and that's the person who was going to come on. But it just kind of feels like they're having to find a way of making it all happen in a very congested way. But if you've gone for him, then you understand this is the way he plays. So you either give him squad depth, because you are competing in so many different competitions, or he has to figure a way out of changing. And why would you employ a man who's you're asking to change? Yeah. So I think there has to be some level of blame, attached to what Tottenham, the players, why are you not helping him produce that style of football? Because all these great managers, if they don't have these great players and they don't have availability, like even Pep Guardiola, can they win their matches? Exactly. So it's a lot of criticism.
We've seen this pattern with Tottenham.